Imagine waking up, stretching your arms, and walking into your kitchen for a cup of coffee, only to realize you just crossed an international border. No guards, no barbed wire, no passport control, just a regular morning routine inside a house split perfectly between two world superpowers, the United States and Canada. How is this even possible? For generations, families here lived in absolute harmony. The border wasn't a barrier, it was just a quirky, invisible line running through their living rooms and bedrooms. Neighbors visited neighbors without a second thought. But then the world changed. What used to be a charming geographical anomaly suddenly transformed into a geopolitical headache. Overnight, bureaucratic red tape, strict surveillance, and bizarre legal battles took over. And honestly, the deeper you dig into how this border was drawn, the more ridiculous it gets. We are talking about mapping errors made centuries ago, long before satellites, GPS, or modern cities even existed. So how did this chaotic line come to be? And what is it really like to live in a place where a single step changes your nationality? Let's find out. The ultimate international library. Picture this. You are walking down a street in the United States. You push open a heavy, historic wooden door and step inside a quiet, beautiful library. You nod hello to the librarian. You take precisely 10 steps toward the bookshelves to grab a novel, but the very second your fingers touch that book, you are no longer in America. Welcome to Canada. Right beneath your shoes, a thick, unmistakable black line cuts straight across the hardwood floor. It's not an interior design choice. It is a literal sovereign border. Think about that for a second. You could be sitting comfortably on a chair in the United States, resting your feet on a footstool in Canada. But wait, it gets so much crazier. Opera, chaos, and border patrol. If you take the stairs to the second floor of this exact same building, you will find yourself inside a majestic, fully functioning opera house. And this is where logic completely goes out the window. The massive wooden stage where the actors perform, that's entirely in Canada. But the rows of plush, cushioned seats where the audience sits, 100% inside the United States. That means an entire crowd can watch a show and applaud from a completely different country than the performers. Mind-blowing, right? But don't let the charm fool you. The reality outside these walls is deadly serious. The building has two main entrances, the American door and the Canadian door, and the rule is absolute. If you walk in through the U.S. entrance, you must leave through the U.S. entrance. What happens if you try to take a shortcut and exit through the Canadian side? Boom. Instant arrest. The streets outside are constantly swarming with heavily armed Border Patrol vehicles. Dozens of hidden, high-tech security cameras track every single window, hallway, and shadow, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. One wrong step, one accidental exit, and you are looking at thousands of dollars in fines, a permanent criminal record, and a direct ticket to a jail cell. Is it a tourist attraction or is it a high-security trap? You decide. When people scroll past photos of this mind-bending library for the first time, they flat out refuse to believe it's real. Naturally, the internet has absolutely lost its mind spinning wild conspiracy theories. Go to any forum and you'll find people claiming this place is the ultimate criminal cover-up. The theory? Shrewd, old-school businessmen deliberately built it right on the line to stash dirty money and dodge millions in taxes. Others swear it was a legendary Cold War-era spy hub. Picture secret agents disguised as harmless bookworms, sitting at the exact same table, casually sliding top-secret blueprints across a wooden surface. Technically, They never crossed a border. No passport stamps, no paper trail, no proof. And today, modern conspiracy theorists are convinced smugglers use the windows as a drive-through, tossing illegal contraband from one country to another the second the police blink. But the real story, it's actually beautiful. Over a century ago, in 1904, a tremendously wealthy local family decided to give humanity a breathtaking gift. They intentionally erected this stunning monument right on the border for one inspiring reason: to prove that community, literature, and art are infinitely more powerful than any imaginary line on a map. Surprisingly, both governments loved the idea. They forged a historic, one-of-a-kind treaty, giving this architectural anomaly a green light. It stands today as the only building of its kind on the planet. But look, it's one thing to build a library on a border on purpose. It is a completely different nightmare when the border aggressively crashes into your private life and slices your actual bedroom right in half. Welcome to the twilight zone of real estate. Let's travel a bit further down the line to the twin towns of Derby Line and Stansted. At a glance, it looks like peak small-town Americana. Manicured lawns, quiet streets, family SUVs. But look closer. The international border is literally cutting through the foundations of ordinary family homes. It slices through kitchens, cuts across bathrooms, and cleaves living rooms in two. Imagine brewing your morning espresso on a stove located in Canada and walking 3 steps over to your sofa in the United States to drink it. Some couples literally sleep with one partner in the US and the other in Canada. But living here is a relentless bureaucratic hellscape. Take property taxes. You can't just write a check to one town hall. No, you have to hire specialized lawyers to calculate the exact granular square footage of your house in each nation and file 2 completely separate tax returns. And God forbid a fire breaks out in your kitchen. Emergency dispatchers from both countries don't just send help immediately. They first have to pull up GPS coordinates to determine exactly which country the flames are currently burning in. If the fire is on the Canadian side of the counter, the American trucks have to stand down. Insane, right? Then comes summer, and with it, the tourists. Suddenly, hundreds of strangers with cameras are trampling your front lawn. They literally knock on your front door, begging to use your private bathroom just to take a viral selfie with one foot in America and the other in Canada. Naturally, the internet thinks this is the ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card. People swear these houses are a criminal's dream loophole. The theory goes, local cops are chasing you, you sprint into your hallway, take 2 steps into the kitchen, and bam! The police freeze at the threshold. They have zero authority because you are now technically standing in a foreign superpower's jurisdiction. Is it just a massive systemic glitch that the government is too lazy to fix? Not quite. The real culprit? Primitive technology. The great geodetic screw-up. Over 100 years ago, politicians comfortably sitting in distant capitals ordered the border to be drawn precisely along the 45th parallel north. To do this, they sent ordinary surveyors out into the wild. These poor souls had to hack their way through brutal, dense forests and treacherous, mosquito-infested swamps. They didn't have drones. They didn't have satellite imaging. All they had were heavy brass compasses, measuring ropes, and the stars to guide them through total exhaustion. The result? They missed the mark. Horribly. The line they drew zigzagged wildly, veering off by hundreds of meters. By the time precise modern lasers and GPS finally exposed the mistake, it was way too late. Whole towns, bustling shops, and thousands of lives had already taken root. Rather than evicting entire communities, both governments agreed to leave the crooked line exactly as it was. But while a compass mistake in a dark forest is understandable, What happens when politicians draw a perfectly straight line on a map and accidentally sever an entire town from its own country? Point Roberts, the American island trapped in Canada. Welcome to Point Roberts. It's an absolutely stunning, picturesque coastal town home to about 1,000 residents. They have American schools, an American post office, gas stations, and supermarkets. They pay U.S. taxes and they vote for the U.S. president. But there is a colossal catch. Geographically, Point Roberts sits at the absolute tip of a long peninsula that dangles off the mainland of Canada. It is surrounded by freezing ocean water on 3 sides, and the only road out? It leads straight into Canada. You cannot simply hop in your car and drive to the rest of America. It is physically impossible. To reach their own home country's mainland, locals have to embark on an absolute international odyssey. They have to drive up to the border, clear Canadian customs, drive 40 kilometers through foreign Canadian territory, and then line up to clear strict American customs all over again. But nobody has it harder than the local high school kids. Because Point Roberts doesn't have its own high school, these teenagers have to board a yellow school bus and cross an international sovereign border 4 times every single day, twice in the morning and twice in the afternoon, just to attend algebra class. And when the recent global lockdown slammed the world shut and sealed all international borders, this town was plunged into absolute terrifying isolation. 1,000 Americans completely trapped on a tiny, beautiful sliver of land, cut off from the rest of the world. If you look at Point Roberts on a map, it looks genuinely eerie and unnatural. A lonely, severed fragment of a country, completely marooned from the rest of the world. And where there is mystery, the internet smells a conspiracy. Wild theories have exploded online, with people guessing that Point Roberts is actually a forgotten Truman Show-style social experiment. Conspiracy theorists genuinely believe the government deliberately trapped these citizens to study human behavior under long-term isolation. Others swear there is a massive, top-secret subterranean military base hidden directly beneath the local schools and grocery stores. According to them, the exhausting double customs checkpoint isn't for national security. It's a psychological barrier designed to scare off nosy tourists and keep eyes away from what's buried underground. But the truth? There are no underground bunkers, no secret labs, just pure, unadulterated human laziness. Back in 1846, high-ranking diplomats gathered in a cozy, warm office in London to divide the continent. Instead of studying the terrain, they took the absolute laziest route possible. They grabbed a wooden ruler, laid it across a map, and drew a perfectly straight line along the 49th parallel. The treaty was simple. Everything below the line belongs to the Americans. Everything above goes to the Canadians. They didn't zoom in. They didn't look at the rugged topography of the coastline. That blind, careless stroke of a pen chopped off the very tip of the peninsula, severing it from the United States forever. The locals practically begged politicians to shift the border just a few miles north, but the ink was already dry. The bureaucrats shrugged, and a community was trapped in a geographic limbo. But if a wooden ruler can wreck lives on land, wait until you see what happens when politicians try to draw borders on water. The island stuck in a Canadian lake way up north lies an even more bizarre anomaly, the Northwest Angle. This is a piece of American territory that is literally stranded inside a massive Canadian lake. Reaching it on American roads, absolutely impossible. During the summer, locals have no choice but to commute via motorized skiffs, slamming against heavy waves to get to the mainland. And during the brutal freezing winters, they have to drive their cars over treacherous, cracking sheets of lake ice. Need to buy a fresh loaf of bread? Need to take your kid to the doctor? Get ready to drive down a desolate dirt road cutting through a completely foreign country. But the most mind-blowing part of the journey happens right at the border crossing. You are driving through a dense, silent forest. There are no high-security fences, no armed guards, no attack dogs, no spotlights. Instead, you stumble upon a lonely, small wooden booth. Honestly, it looks like a garden shed. Inside this shed hangs a basic, ordinary tablet. By law, you are required to park your car, step out into whatever brutal weather nature is throwing at you, walk into the shed, and tap the screen. Suddenly, a border patrol officer appears on a video call from hundreds of miles away. You hold your passport up to the tablet's camera and explain exactly why you are driving through the woods. And here is the kicker. If the internet goes down in that forest, you are officially, legally trapped. You cannot cross. The myth of the lawless angle. Because of this extreme isolation, dark legends have consumed the Northwest angle. Clueless tourists often whisper that the locals have completely rejected civilization. They believe a community of hardcore outlaws lives there, running their own unrecognized sovereign state, completely immune to the laws of both countries. Other mystery hunters claim the angle is a volatile, highly disputed flashpoint, a geopolitical ticking time bomb that could erupt into a military conflict at any second. They claim the government is terrified to station live border guards there, choosing to monitor everything through hidden forest cameras and tablets, just to avoid risking human lives. But once again, reality ruins the fairy tale. The real villain of this story? A terrible 18th century drawing. When politicians were dividing these lands after a massive war, they relied heavily on a map created by a man named John Mitchell. The problem? Mitchell had never actually set foot in the region. He sat comfortably at home, sketching the shapes of the Great Lakes, based entirely on confusing rumors and exaggerated sailors' tales. He got the geometry of the lake completely wrong. Politicians solemnly signed a treaty stating the border would run directly to the northwesternmost point of the lake. But when real professional cartographers finally arrived on site, they realized something horrifying. The point mentioned in the treaty physically did not exist. To desperately comply with the signed law, surveyors had to awkwardly stretch the borderline at a bizarre, unnatural angle right through open water and swamps. And just like that, because of a map drawn on pure hearsay, a piece of America was cut off and abandoned in the Canadian wilderness. To make sure people stranded in these dense, unforgiving forests actually know where one superpower ends and another begins, the border literally had to be violently carved across an entire continent. If you step off the cozy tourist trails and venture deep into the untamed northern wilderness, you will stumble upon a sight that is genuinely haunting. Imagine trekking through a dark, suffocating forest. Massive, centuries-old pine trees are groaning under the wind. Dead branches are snapping beneath your boots. And then, total, abrupt silence. The trees just vanish. Right in front of you lies a perfectly flat, completely empty clearing, exactly 6 meters wide. It cuts through the ancient forest like a colossal surgical scar. Look to your right. This empty corridor slices straight over the horizon. Look to your left. The exact same unsettling view. This line doesn't care about geography. It scales vertical mountain peaks, plunges into pitch-black rocky gorges, and charges right through treacherous mud swamps. It doesn't flinch or bend by a single centimeter. There are no towering concrete walls here, no razor wire, no asphalt, just short, eerie, manicured grass and the occasional lonely iron post poking out of the dirt. Honestly, it sends a cold shiver straight down your spine. In the natural world, perfectly straight, infinite geometric lines simply do not exist. Local hunters swear that even apex predators and wild animals hesitate, paralyzed with fear, before crossing this unnatural void. And when the brutal winter strikes, this corridor fills with deep, pristine white snow, transforming into what looks like an endless, apocalyptic runway for something massive. The matrix glitch and the secret laser. When unsuspecting hikers stumble onto this clearing, their brains completely short-circuit. They just can't process it. And you already know what that means. The internet has gone completely rogue with insane sci-fi conspiracy theories. Some internet sleuths deadpan argue that this is the literal burn mark of a terrifying satellite laser weapon secretly tested by the military. Others are utterly convinced that deep beneath this manicured grass lies a subterranean megastructure, a hidden pipeline or super cable pumping classified materials between underground government bunkers. Then you have the mystics. They claim this is an ancient ley line of pure volatile energy. They say that if you step into the corridor, magnetic compasses spin violently out of control. Humans completely lose track of time, and phantom glows illuminate the night sky. People are literally calling it a rendering glitch in the matrix of our reality. The army fighting nature. But the reality, the scale of the truth, is just as mind-blowing as the fiction. What you are looking at is officially the longest man-made forest clearing on planet Earth. It spans several thousand kilometers. Think about it. Trees are aggressive, living organisms. They grow constantly. Their roots spread. Wild bushes will reclaim empty dirt in a heartbeat. If humans left this forest alone for just a few years, nature would completely swallow the border, erasing it from existence. To stop that from happening, a highly funded, secretive International Boundary Commission exists. They command a massive budget and a literal army of rugged, fearless woodsmen. Every 15 years, these workers strap on heavy gear, grab roaring chainsaws, and wield razor-sharp machetes. They march deep into the dead zones, places with zero cell service, zero roads, and zero backup. They live in tents for weeks at a time. They battle relentless swarms of blackflies, dodge aggressive grizzly bears, and labor through suffocating, breathless heat waves. Step by agonizing step, they manually slaughter millions of young trees. It is an exhausting, brutal, never-ending war against nature. And why? All of this colossal effort, money, and human sweat is expended for one solitary, absurd reason: to make sure an imaginary line drawn on a dusty piece of paper centuries ago stays visible in the real world. So there you have it. What began centuries ago as careless lines drawn with wooden rulers, bad ink, and flawed compasses has morphed into one of the most surreal, chaotic, and fascinating borders on the planet. From libraries that turn you into an international traveler in 10 steps, to entire communities trapped in geographic limbo, the US-Canada border proves that reality will always be weirder than fiction. It's a powerful reminder that while humans love to draw lines to divide the world, nature, community, and everyday life will always find a way to blur them. But what do you think? Would you ever live in a house where your bed is split between two different nations? Or would the bureaucratic nightmare drive you completely insane? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to smash the like veto if you want to see more mind-bending stories like this one. Thanks for watching, and see you on the next adventure.